Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So let's go through day two of Aintree. Now you'll notice that the ratings are locked. You can unlock them, everybody can unlock them tomorrow. All you've got to do is enter the nap competition and give a tweet a retweet. I will send another email about that. So enter the nap competition, give the tweet a retweet, and I will be able to go and unlock your account so that you can see the ratings for Friday. You'll get all of Aintree, but you'll also get Leicester, Sedgefield, Dundalk, Ballinrobe and Southall. So let's get on with the actual racing itself. Who do I like? So the first race, Jerry Colombe, he was evens yesterday, which is a shame that we've missed that, but you can see he is available at 10 to 11. I think 10 to 11 is a good price about Jerry Colombe. Second in the Brown Advisory at Cheltenham, beating Bron, beating Gallia de la Toe. So there's two that I see no reason why they can reverse the form, and Complete Unknown's just not as good as Jerry Colombe. I know people felt that Jerry Colombe was a little bit unlucky not to win. Possibly the horse in front probably got an easy lead and he ran him down as best he could, but couldn't quite get there. Are any of these going to get that easy lead and Jerry Colombe be finishing first? No. Jerry Colombe will be close. I think Davy Russell will be more aware of that. But there isn't a horse who likes to go forward and get that easy lead either. So I think this race will be, I think it would be quite easy for Jerry Colombe, to be honest. I think he will win this and should be a shorter price than 10 to 11 even. Moving on to the 220, there's a few in this that obviously caught my eye. Camprons, No Ordinary Joe, Benson could bounce back. Yeah, those are the interesting ones. The Boss's Oscar, I guess. But the one I'm really keen on here is Playful Saint. Playful Saint's probably his best run was actually 3 runs ago when he was a 3/4 length second to Love Envoy. Yeah, he ran Love Envoy really close, over 2 mile, when staying on. He then went to Leicester and won an easier race for him, a much easier race. He won by 12 lengths, beating Washington, and went up in the handicap. He went up £7 for that, and they ended up running him in the Imperial Cup, where he ran well. He finished third behind Knickerbocker Glory and Isio. Now, obviously, we were on Isio that day, so it was a great result. But I was watching Playful Saint throughout the race because he was the one I was a little bit concerned about. He was really keen out the back and probably went down he did go down the inside, which probably wasn't the best place to go. And I just wonder how much effort Harry really gave when he realised the race was over. So Isio went clear, and Playful Saint was absolutely flying. He was picking up really strongly, and then just kind of flattened out after the last, and just wondered how much of an effort really came from Harry Skelton that day. With that in mind, I don't think he moved in a handicap. I'm just checking. He didn't. He stayed off that 135 mark, and I think the step up and trip will suit him. He's always looked like this step up and trip will suit. Staying on at Sandown, staying on at Sandown again last time, and I'd be really hopeful of a big run here. Obviously, the Connections won this, or the trainer and owner won it last year with Langadan, who had been tried in the right races, hadn't quite worked, and then they got the win on the board. And I have a feeling that Playful Saint could be very, it could happen again with Playful Saint. I'm quite keen on Playful Saint, to be honest. He is currently a better price than I thought he would be. I thought he'd be nearer, down here in the 7s, 8s. Playful Saint at 12s. I think that's a good price about the Harry and Dan Skelton horse. So he's the one I want to be on here. Definitely worried about Camprond, obviously. His third, and then going on to win he was fourth last year before going on to win at Punchestown from Cheltenham. He could do something similar here, third before going on to Aintree. I'm just hoping that there's more to come from Playful Saint now he's stepped up in trip. Moving on to the 255, the 2 mile novices hurdle. I'm a little bit surprised about one in this, to be honest, the price. In that there's a few here that are coming from different races from either Cheltenham or didn't run at Cheltenham. I'm surprised at the price of In the Pocket, because In the Pocket finished fourth at Cheltenham in the Supreme Novice, beaten by Marine Nationale and Facile Vega, who I think are very good, and Diverge, who was one of my eye catchers from the festival. In the Pocket finished fourth, ran well, ran on quite nicely at the finish, and he's a proper 2 miler, and we kind of know that he's just short of that top class Grade 1. The others, like Lucia, was very disappointing at Cheltenham, finishing fourth in a mares. Is she going to be good enough to win against the geldings here? I'm not sure. Is the favourite, Founder 50, a suitable price based on, I know he finished second to Corbett's Cross, but does that mean that that was a really good effort from Corbett's Cross, or was it that Founder 50 couldn't even beat a 3 miler over 2 mile? That's one way of looking at that. You know, we could say he wasn't even able to beat a 3 miler. Yes, he'd previously beaten Parmenion, but Parmenion was well beaten recently in a Grade 2. He was beaten 15.5 lengths. Is that really that good a form from Founder 50? I'm not so sure. I'm going to be happy to take on Founder 50 and Lucia here with the horse that has done it in Grade 1 company over 2 mile, and that's In the Pocket. And I think at 4s and 9 to 2, you know, comfortably again 9 to 2, I think that's the one I want to be on here, In the Pocket, to show that that 2 mile form is the best form. And yeah, I just think that there's nothing wrong with his form at all, to be honest. So hopefully JP can win it again. He obviously won it last year with John Bon. And yeah, I'm hoping the 2 mile form is the proper form for this 2 mile novice hurdle. Moving on to the Marsh Chase. Who do I like in this? Facadoodery. Why do I like Facadoodery? So Facadoodery won this race last year, running away from Hitman between the second last and then holding on and actually winning it by, I don't know, 4 or 5 lengths. 5.5 lengths he won by. So I wouldn't be too concerned about Hitman. The second horse that you could be interested in then is Pictory. Now, Pictory has been showing an improved form this season. What's he been beating though? So he won at Newton Abbot, beating Kisses for Katie. That's nothing to shout about. He then beat Miller's Bank and First Flow. Well, I think he can beat them again. Miller's Bank here is 10 to 1, 6th favourite. That's not that good a form, really, Pictory winning that. Then Pictory went to Kempton and beat Clondor Castle. Well, Clondor Castle has since disappointed in a handicap, a race that he'd previously won. Again, that's not amazing form. He was then absolutely trounced by Shishkin at Ascot. And Facadoodery was disappointing. There's no doubt about that. Facadoodery was disappointing back in third. But I just want to forgive Facadoodery that one run. You know, he went off 7 to 4 favourite that day. And I think back at Aintree, we know he loves Aintree. He's won this race for the last 2 years. He beat Nutswell in 2021. And as I mentioned, he beat Hitman in 2022. We know he's a real Aintree specialist. Granted, he had also won at Ascot before. But if we want to be really picky, when he won at Ascot, he beat 2 for Gold. 2 for Gold is he hunter chasing? He's running in veteran chases. Is that top quality form? I mean, after 2 for Gold, finished second to Facadoodery. He then pulled up. He finished 5th in a Sefton. He finished 18th in the handicap at Cheltenham this year. It's not the best form. So maybe Facadoodery won at Ascot despite it being at Ascot. You know, he beat nothing and was just far too good. Whereas at least at Aintree, he has shown he's got ability and he does like the course. And I think I'm quite happy with Facadoodery here, and I think he'll bounce back and be able to reverse form with Pictory at Aintree. Moving on to the Beecher Chase. So yeah, Facadoodery was, what price was Facadoodery? 9 to 4. I think he'll go off the clear favourite. Moving on to the Beecher Chase. No, it's the Topham. Sorry, I do love this race. I love the races over the national fences. They're always great to watch. Hopefully, we won't get too many fallers. It's always frustrating if you get a faller, and then even worse if your horse is brought down or hampered by a faller. Obviously, one of the big ones quite a few years ago now, I think, was it Clan Royal got beat, or was it Butler's Cabin? One of the two got hampered by a loose horse at Beecher's Brook. in the Grand National. Granted, this isn't the Grand National, but it's over those national fences. So anyway, who do I like in this race? Well, there's a few here that come here with good form, and form over these fences. I think form over these fences is going to be very key here because there's enough with form over these fences. So we've got Burrows Saint, obviously twice competed in a Grand National. He finished 4th in 2021 and unseated in 2022. So they drop him back in trip. Yeah, he's definitely interesting. He is 10, and I wonder whether there might be something that's a little bit more progressive or potentially a bit better handicapped than Burrows Saint. Another one with national fence form, obviously Al Dancer won the Sefton, beating Guess Kill, who also reopposes. There's a couple of horses there that have got good form over the fences. Guess Kill's been around a couple of times, I think. He got beat by Ashdown Lad. He got beat by Al Dancer. Who of those do I like? I'm quite a fan of Ashdown Lad. They were toying with the Grand National with Ashdown Lad, but they wasn't sure that he quite stayed the trip because of how he faded late on at Ayr. So with that in mind, and the fact that he's been running over 3 mile, they can now drop. He is now being dropped to 2.5 or 2 mile 5, which I think means they're going to be very, very positive on him. He's going to be out near the front. He's going to be out of trouble. He's going to put his jumping to the test. And I do think you need to stay well over these national fences, especially after that long run in. Horses can really start stopping after that last, or in between the second last and the last. They're going to be really confident. They're going to be really positive on him. And yeah, I think that might be the key to this race. You can essentially outstay your rivals here, outstay Al Dancer, outstay Guess Kill by going forward, going hard, and trying to get into a good rhythm, jumping those fences. And I'd be quite confident of a really big run here from Ashdown Lad. The only concern, if he jumps off and he's in mid-division, I'd be a little bit worried. But if he's out near the front, I'd be very hopeful of a big run from the Skelton ridden Ashdown Lad. What price is Ashdown Lad? He is available at 9-1, which I think is a fair price, to be honest. Moving on to the Sefton Novices Hurdle, a Grade 1 over 3 mile. Who do I like in this? I think it's out of 2 for me, and they would be Iroko and Stay Away Faye. Now, when Stay Away Faye finished second at Doncaster, I tweeted after the race, I think he was just beaten by experience. He then went to Cheltenham and he won on his next run in the Albert Bartlett. Really good effort, good performance, and he is probably the one to beat. He's got the stamina. He's got the Grade 1 form. There's plenty of positives about him, to be honest, and you'd be disappointed if he doesn't go close. The biggest danger is Iroko. And I think they are 100 to 30, no, threes. You never take the one bookmaker, they're an outlier. So 3-1 about Stay Away Faye. Iroko 6s. I probably think the value might be with Iroko there. Is it? Iroko's stepping up in trip, whereas Stay Away Faye we know stays that trip. But it was the Albert Bartlett, and that can really take a lot out of horses. But Paul Nicholls won it last year. No, I'm sticking with the one I suggested. I'm sticking with Stay Away Faye to confirm form with plenty of these from the Albert Bartlett. Iroko is definitely one that I'm interested in and I'll be watching to see how he gets on. It's all about the trip for him. Will he get that trip? But the way he finished at Cheltenham was in the style of a horse that will get the 3 mile. But he will need to prove that first, whereas at least Stay Away Faye has done that, got the T-shirt, and you'll be disappointed if he doesn't go close again, Stay Away Faye, in a race that Paul won it last year with Gelino Bello. Yeah, That's who I'm going for. I'm going for Stay Away Faye. So sometimes even just talking in this video helps me pick my horses, because I can almost use you as, I don't know if you know the phrase rubber ducking, which is where you talk to somebody, and although I'm not talking to anybody, you talk to them and you kind of come up with reasons why you're going to do something, or help you if you've got an issue with something. You rubber duck it with people, and they can suddenly you work out what it is, sometimes without even people saying it. And I'm talking to nobody, but I'm talking to you guys who are hopefully listening, and convincing myself of different horses which ones I'm going to end up having bets on. So moving on, as I said, the one I like here then is Stay Away Faye at 3-1. I think he's the one to beat in the 3-mile Sefton Novices Hurdle. Moving on to the final race, and I'm going to have two here. Let's just check. Hopefully no prices. How annoying is that? As I said, I can't say 16s because that's a terrible bookmaker. I can't say 14s, 12s about Washington. That's frustrating. It was a bigger price earlier today, but it's 12s that you can see in this video quite comfortably. So we'll go over the two that I like then. The first one, as I've mentioned, is Washington. Why? We finished 4th in this race last year. 3rd, sorry. Not beaten far, off a £3 high mark. His second behind Playful Saint. Well, if Playful Saint goes on to win that race at the second race on the card, then that will look really good form, and hopefully he does. Playful Saint's been quite carefully looked after this year. The cheap pieces are on for the first time. Ollie Murphy's got his horses running really well. Yeah, I'm quite keen on a big run here for Washington. I thought Washington was going to be aimed at the race that JT Eckelberg, Dr. JT Eckelberg or TJ Eckelberg got beat in last time, but they didn't. They've snuck in at the bottom here, which is really key, and I'll be very confident of a big run here from Washington at 12-1. They did go, I think, if I can just show you something. Let me just find something. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just loading something up on the other screen. Whilst I find that, I'll also talk about the second one. So the second horse that I like is Glan. And the reason for that is it's this time of year. This time last year, I've actually got that tweet now, so let me just load that up as well. Glan, let's just go back to Glan, sorry. This time last year, he was winning the handicap at Fairyhouse. On the 16th of April, he won the Rybo handicap at 4-1. And he won it quite nicely in the end. I think he won it with a bit more in hand. This season, it's not gone to plan. He's not really run this season. It was all back end of last year. I mean, he hasn't run for 203 days. And I just wonder whether this was the plan, to come back for this time of year. Let me just load up that page. To come back for a race at this time of year. Obviously, they could have gone back for that Rybo handicap. But they're coming here. Aidan can take 5 off. Which Mark rode him at Fairyhouse, took 5 off, so he was running off 123 that day. Here he's running off 134, but with Aidan taking £5 off, which takes it down to 129. We've obviously had a win with Aidan Kelly riding for us this season with Iroko in the conditional jockeys handicap at Cheltenham, so hopefully he can do the same thing at Aintree on the Gordon Elliott trained Glan. It's all about this time of year. He's not too high in the handicap in terms of how comfortable I thought he won the handicap at Fairyhouse. It's not gone to plan yet this season, but I'm very confident of a big run there. So yeah, let me just show you this tweet I made. I put I wish, and the reason I put I wish, look at this: Glan 20-1, Washington 20-1. Unfortunately, neither of them are 20-1. They are 12s and 12s. They're 12s and 12s, but I think both of them, I think they're the two that are going to go really, really well, to be honest. Lorcan right at the bottom, and Aidan Kelly taking that £5 off to try and do the conditional jockeys handicap double at Cheltenham and Aintree. So they're my selections. As I've said, you can unlock the ratings by entering the NAT competition and giving a tweet a retweet. I'll send a link to that tweet again in an email later, which you may find this video from, or you may see this straight on YouTube if you're subscriber on YouTube, you get notifications when I upload a new video. So let's just go back through them again quickly. Jerry Colombi, I think there's no reason for him to find that Bron can reverse the form or Gallia de la Tote can reverse the form, and I think he's better than Complete Unknown. Playful Saint, for the connections that won it last year. Trainer and Jockey won it last year. His third was a very eye-catching effort behind Isio in the Imperial Cup. In the Pocket, I think he's the grade 1 2R novice in this race. Lucia might not be as good as they hoped. And Founder 50, was it good form or was it not good form? Fakadoodery is the one to beat at Aintree. I think he'll reverse the form with Pictori and maintain the form with Hitman. Ashdown Lad, if they go prominent, positive, ride him forward, keep out of trouble, should be able to outstay most of these. Stay Away Faye is the one to beat. Got the 3 mile grade 1 form to his name. You'd hope for another big run. And in the last, I'm going for 2 in the last. They are Glan to run another big race at this time of year, and Washington for £3 lower mark to go better than the 3rd place he was last year. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back again tomorrow for Grand National Day.